Hello everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be my currently inked for the month of October. I tried to have some kind of a fall theme, but that didn't work out too well, as I tend to always end up straying into the blues and the greens. But I did kind of make an effort to have, you know, a few fall themed pens and inks in here. So my pens today, I'll start first with the Opus 88, and this is the Omar. So it's a pretty big pen, holds a lot of ink. Very nice pen. This is a eyedropper. You see some of the ink kind of seeps in there. And it's a Yovo number 6 nib. Very beautiful pen. It does have the stop gasket in there if you want to stop the flow of your ink. I tend to only open it when I run out. So for this, I'm going to make sure it's open. So as you can see there, I've already done some writing, and the ink in here is Diamond Spruce. You can see a little green shade there. Very pretty ink, and you can definitely see the red in the writing, or you should on the camera. And this is a nice extra fine nib. And the spruce ink is pretty wet, somewhat viscous, I guess because of the scent that they have to put in there. Reverse. Just a beautiful pen, very comfortable pen. You know, there's nothing here that's going to dig into your fingers or anything. So that's the Omar. I also have the Opus 88 demonstrator, which looks quite a bit the same as this one. There's a little bit of ink leakage in the cap, but no big deal really. So that's the Opus 88 Omar. Really love writing with this. Next we have the Majohn X1, which is a knockoff of a Mont Blanc Bohème. I have showed this on my channel previously. I've done a review of this as well as it has shown up in a currently inked or two. I've had some issues with it drying out, but hard starting. I think I just need a good cleaning, because it did perform very well during my last curly inked. You can see there's hard starting a bit. It does well in reverse, but you can see there's a lot of skipping. So I've been hesitant to actually clean these because I really don't know how, but it definitely needs a cleaning, because this wasn't an issue before. So that's the X1. So it's just a retractable, and I'm using a Dryden cartridge in here, and that Dryden ink is a little viscous as well, which probably doesn't help it, but I definitely need to get up the nerve to clean these out. I have two of them. I have a black one as well. So there's a safety mechanism in there. So if you do what I just did, if you leave the nib out, it will stop it. But that is the Majohn X1. And next we have the Leonardo Grande Pur. I have shown this on the channel as well. Make sure I'm in frame. And no issues here with hard starting. Very firm, extra fine steel nib. All three of these are extra fine steel nibs. In reverse. Not so well in reverse, but this works really nicely. And here's the ink. This is the Leonardo Officina Italiana blue, and there you can see a little bit of red sheen there, or red shading. But that's Leonardo blue, and that came with one of the pens. I have a blue one as well with a gold nib. So this is a piston filler. Let me show you the nib. Nib is a little stained, but there's a extra fine. And there's the feed, ebonite feed. And as well, there's a little bit of green in there in the cap, but not too bad. Very nice pen. Next, we have the Palette Custom 74, and this is a 30th anniversary edition. And the 30th anniversary edition just comes with, like a green barrel, this color barrel, and there's another color. I forget which one it is, but I bought this from Yoseka Stationery. And this is a medium fine 14 karat gold nib, and I have it inked with Diamond Sepia. It's pretty firm nib for a 14 karat. I definitely know not to push it. See, it does shade very nicely down here. Reverse. No, not good in reverse. This pen, I don't know, I'm not sure. It writes nicely, but I'm just not sure if the medium fine is for me. I think I would just prefer a straight up medium. But there's the beautiful palette nib and the feed. And it's a Con 70, which is a nice converter. Came with that. And there's the cap. So it only came with different colored barrels. The cap and the infineal are all black. So that's the Custom 74. Probably one of my least favorite custom palette customs. Next we have, I can show you the sepia, Diamond Sepia. Some shading there, nothing fancy. Next we have the Visconti Homo Sapiens. This is a dual touch in Cognac color. And I keep the same ink in here that I always do. I have my writer's blood in this. You can see writer's blood. It's a very dark. Has a little bit of, I want to say, gold or silver shimmer there. Looks like shimmer, but it's writer's blood. Definitely in the top 5 of my favorite inks. And this pen does have a lot of give in the nib, but I definitely don't push it, and I don't recommend pushing it. It's not a flex nib, really. Very, very smooth in reverse. So that's the Visconti Homo Sapiens Dual Touch. This is a vac filler, or a power vac filler. Beautiful nib. Beautiful 18 karat gold fine nib. And there's the feed. The cap. It's magnetic. Nice clip. Have the usual Ponte Vecchio clip. Very nice pen. I'm very careful when I ink this so I don't get any ink on the leather. So I use a inkwell to fill that up. And last on this page is the Benu Talisman Dream Beam. This is supposed to be a good luck pen. So there's a, you see it's nice and shimmery. Has some gold and some yellows and some greens. And you have the basic converter. Here's the medium nib. And there's the feed. The clip is very springy, very usable. So in the Benu Talisman Dream Beam, we have a medium steel nib, and it's inked with Monteverdi Mercury Noir. It's a stiff nib, but it does put down a lot of extra ink down there, so it looks like you have line weight variation. Reverse. It's okay in reverse, that's just fine. That's the Benu Talisman, and that's Monteverdi Mercury Noir. There's some shading. Goes from deep red to a little bit of a lighter red. That's those. We have 4 more. So this is a vintage Parker 51. I bought on eBay quite a while ago. This is the one of only 2 Parkers that I have, and this is another pen that really does need some cleaning. The nib is crying out for some cleaning. So I'm not sure what the nib is. I assume it's a fine or extra fine, and I'm assuming also that it's a 14 karat because it is vintage. But it is a nice writer. It has feedback. It's not the smoothest writer that you'll come across, but it's very comfortable to write with. And you can post this. It's comfortable posted. I think once I give this a good cleaning, it'll be just fine. Reverse. It's very nice in reverse. This is one of those pens that writes nicer in reverse than it does the normal way. Okay, that's the Parker 51. You can see it up close. There's nothing much to see. That's the cap finial. Good old-fashioned Parker. I'll unscrew it here. See, it's a squeeze filler, and it says somewhere Parker 51, and gives you instructions on how to fill it. Made in USA. I think this one is from the 60s. I have a I think it's a 45 that had some engraving on it from 1963. That's a Parker 51. And for the first time in my Kerning Inks career, I've actually held over one. And this, I had this in last month's, and this is the LeBoeuf Pilgrim. I enjoyed writing with this and the ink so much that I kept using it this month. So we should be running kind of low on ink. But it's a LeBoeuf Pilgrim. This is a fine steel nib, probably a Yobo. And inks in here, I have Diamine 3 Kings from Inkvent 2022. So there is, if I can get it in the frame, there's the nib. There's the feed. Nothing special. And there's the ink. Still a good amount of ink in it. So you can also post this. It's a little long, but you can post it. It's not heavy or anything. It's a very firm nib that just does its job. No frills. It's quite a bit of feedback, but for me it's pleasant. So that's the... And I was surprised to like this ink so much. This ink will probably stay in this pen. I think they go good together. So that's how it shades, and that's how it looks normally. Very nice. So that's the LeBoeuf. Has the springy ball clip there. I think LeBoeuf has had some ups and downs, but they're back and they're putting out quite a few pens, so hopefully we'll see them around for a while. And we have 2 pens left. And we have a Montegrappa 0, and this is in the Cityscapes pattern. It's a screw, it's a cartridge converter filler. We have the beautiful purple with some white, maybe a little browns, a little pink, maybe a little yellow thrown in there. And there's the beautiful Montegrappa nib. This is a fine steel nib. There's the feed. There's your infinial. And the top cap finial has Montegrappa. It's behind a piece of glass or acrylic there. What I have noticed that this pen does scuff, so I probably will put it in its own little sleeve when I'm carrying it around. There are quite a few scuffs, and some back here as well on the matte part. And it has a nice usable ball clip. So that's a Montegrappa 0. This nib also has bounce to it, but you won't see any line weight variation. Nice tooth. It's in reverse. It's a beautiful writer. If you're looking for a super smooth writer, this isn't it, but a writer with a lot of nice feedback, this is the one. I really enjoyed writing with this one this month. I hadn't written with it in quite a while. So lastly, we have the Gioia Partenope, and this is the Liberty. This is a piston filler. I do have some issues with this. I do some work on the nib. I have some issues with the hard starting. I probably should put a wetter ink in this. The Fuyo seal gun is pretty dry. I should put one of these Private Reserve. So in the Montegrappa 0, I was using Private Reserve Affinity Violet. It's a pretty wet ink, but you can see just how dry Fuyo seal gun is. So let's see. See, it's hard starting, and this pen does flex. It is a medium steel nib, but it does have a lot of bounce to it. Reverse. It's a little bit, this has been a little bit disappointing. I worked on it. I thought I had it going, but there's still a little bit of work to do. So there's the nib, and there's the feed, and there's the Statue of Liberty. Beautiful pen. Just needs some. This is a piston knob. Just needs a few more tweaks, I think. So my note to myself is that this needs work. But you can see how bouncy the nib is. You can see here. Let me make sure I'm showing this right. You can see here. See just how bouncy that is. And it does have line weight variation. Then it stops. So I think the first thing for me to do is just try a different ink. After the Fuyo Seal Gun is gone, I'll try something a little wetter. I'll put some Monteverde or maybe some Private Reserve in. So those are my pens for the month. I didn't have any additional pens or pencils that stood out. So of these, I see my favorites were definitely the Montegrappa Zero, and of course the LeBoeuf, the Omar, the Visconti, the Dream Beam was good as well. I give that one an honorable mention, but these were definitely my top 4 here in order. And then, you know, honorable mentions, I'll definitely give the Pura and the Dream Beam. Now the ones that didn't really, and I alluded to why they didn't really wow me this month, this needs cleaning. This nib is not quite to my liking. This needs cleaning. And this needs a different ink. So my goal is to have these back in future curly inked, just to check the progress. But all in all, I think it was a good month. Definitely some nice ones to write with there. So that's pretty much all I have today. I hope you're all doing well. The world is kind of crazy right now, so hopefully this helped take your mind off of things, if only for a few minutes. This has been my only day off in like a few weeks, so it's a little stressful, but I am happy to distract myself with some fountain pens. So everyone take care of yourself, be good to yourself, and I will catch you next time. Thank you for watching. Take care.